Yo, what's going on, guys? It's G-Miners here. A while back, I made an every eager edge movement tech video / guide where I went over every eager edge movement tech that existed in the game and showed you how to do each one, breaking it down step by step. And now with grapples out in the Strand subclass, I wanted to do the exact same thing for Strand tech. Obviously, Strand has only been out for like 1 week, not even a full week yet, so there's likely going to be things that aren't in this video that might get discovered later, but we already have a ton of different things that you can grapple to, a bunch of new movement techs as is, and then people that you can grapple to who are doing pre-existing movement techs, all of which I'm going to cover in this video. For all of the movement tech in this video, you're just going to need the grenade grapple ability unlocked, so you just need to complete the campaign so that you actually unlock Strand and can use it wherever you want. And then you're going to notice that I'm also on Hunter here, and that's because with Widow's Silk, we get 2 grenade charges, which means we have 2 grapples at base. That's going to allow us to do some additional techs as well, which I will cover later in the video, but also we're able to create a grapple point wherever we throw our first grapple grenade that teammates and ourselves can then grapple to as well, so that's extremely useful. The last thing you will need for a few of the more advanced techniques as well is going to be a sword with the perk Eager Edge on it. This one has Enhanced Eager, which is either increased lunge distance or lunge speed. I can't honestly remember. And you could also get it on the half truths just with the regular version of Eager Edge. It shouldn't make that much of a difference. Even though you don't really need them, what can help are going to be movement-based exotics like Stompies or even Lion Rampants on Titan, just to help you jump further and faster. Lastly, you will also notice that I practice a lot on the Eternity map, playing Mayhem with a 30-minute duration, max score, supercharge rate set to the minimum, and then also the respawn time set to minimum as well. That way you get your abilities, super, everything back super quick, and you can practice all the grapple techs without having to wait for your grenade to recharge fully. First things first, with your grapple, you literally just press Q, your grenade ability, whatever you have it set to, and you're going to grapple right towards the grapple point you set. This right here is going to be left over only from Hunter grapples, so keep that in mind, but we can keep grappling to it if we want to. And then, as you see, my grenade doesn't get consumed. If you want to get creative with your grapple and say land over to the right instead of just going straight through it, you can also do that as well. All you have to do is kind of look around where you want to swing, almost like you're kind of Spider-Man, do something like that, and then let go over here. The same principle is going to apply if you just want to infinitely grapple. Just make sure that you keep looking at the grapple point that you're set to. And you should be able to keep doing this until you either get too close to the point or you can no longer look. The last thing to keep in mind is you're not going to actually get any grenade energy back or have it start refunding your grenade until you touch the ground. That doesn't mean you can't grapple multiple times in air, but there is going to be a slight cooldown, as you can see here, where I have to wait for my grapple to return before I can actually do multiple of these back to back. And again, that's only going to work if you hit a Tangle first on other classes or if you have double grenades on Hunter. As you're going to see here, the first enemy that we usually kill that is affected by Strand is going to leave behind one of these, which is called a Tangle. You can then pick these up, which is pretty well known, and you can throw them and then grapple to them and travel wherever they go. And as you're going to see, my grenade energy is fully refunded. Using Tangles to get places is extremely useful, but more useful than that is going to be the fact that you can actually grapple onto other players who are doing faster movement techs along with Sparrows and even projectile weapons that you shoot like rockets, all of which we're going to cover later in the video. Okay, so after your Strand Grapple basics, you can also grapple to a lot of objects, including players. So we're going to show off player grappling first. I'm going to grapple to Ice here, and he's going to Eager Edge swing forward. And you're going to see that the grapple travels to his location, no matter where he goes, until I catch up and it breaks the grapple. Pretty simple, easy to pull off, and extremely useful. Okay, so after grappling to one player, just doing basic movement, you can take this up a whole notch by doing it with Hunters and Warlocks who are shatter skating and well skating respectively. To do this, all you're going to need is an Eager Edge sword with some ammo in it, and then after the player connects their grapple, which I'll show here, you're going to well skate or shatter skate, and that's going to pull them along. As long as your Tangle or your line stays within 40 to 50 meters, it shouldn't disconnect, but once you reach that point, it will eventually disconnect. The thing with grappling to another player is that any amount of players can grapple to the same person, and then those players can also all grapple onto the exact same target as well. So if 5 people want to grapple onto one player who's skating or on a Sparrow, they can do that, or they can do it all in a successive line too. The next thing after players that you can grapple onto that ends up being extremely useful is going to be sparrows. Sparrows have a lot of high level movement tech like flying and slipstreaming, which will allow one player to reach a certain height or distance and allow other players to grapple along with them. You're gonna see Ice will start sparrow flying now, and he do about 2 sets, and then I'll grapple onto it and then fly up with him on the second set here. So you can get a lot of height for players who don't know how to sparrow fly to new locations if you want to, or just to get out of bounds. I also kind of skipped it because it's just so simple, but you can just immediately grapple to anybody who's sparrowing as well if you want to do it for fun or if there's any practical use at this at all. And as long as they're driving and you don't get too far away, you can also stay grappled to them. You also want to make sure that you don't bottom out and hit the ground here or hit any walls or objects, but tends to stay on pretty well as long as you don't cross that distance threshold. Sparrow flying is one thing, but doing it on a slipstream is going to be a lot more efficient and practical for a lot of applications in the game. The only issue here is after around 40 to 50 meters, your tangle or your grapple will disconnect. So you got to make sure that the player who's doing the slipstream doesn't go too fast too quickly. So maybe not having them boost is a good idea. It really depends on how fast the player doing the slipstream goes, but like I said, we're not boosting here. We're just going to keep the tangle or the grapple connected a lot longer, and we should be able to cross the entire cistern here and go any amount of distance that we really need to. An extremely unique thing that you can also do on Hunter specifically is do the infinite grapple chains. I created this Tangle Grapple location here, but anything that exists around the map can also be used. And as you can see, I only have 1 grenade here, but if I keep doing this and jumping off, with the right mods that we have on, which I'll go over in a second, we get our entire grenade back. Just do this a few times, and then you can create a new grapple location. To actually pull this off, all you really need is the mod Grenade Kickstart. People have said you only need 2 copies. I just have 3 because I had the space. This is going to give you a small amount of grenade energy back when using your grenade, even when not charged with armor charge stacks. As you're going to see here, each time I grapple and then press space to instantly cancel, I'm going to get around 25% of my grenade back, which eventually allows me to have both charges again so that I can put another tangle point down and then re-grapple to it. Once again, this only works on Hunter, so you can't do this on other classes, but to cross something, you can put a bunch of these tangles down and then have your teammates grapple to them as well. Hunters also have a somewhat useful eager edge tech where, again, you need eager edge on a sword, and then you're also going to need the aspect that allows you to do your in-air move almost like a shadow dive, suspending enemies nearby. This is going to be a lot less useful on its own compared to something like shatter skating, but you're going to also need a declined surface like so, and then the inputs are pretty much the exact same. I've seen a lot of people using this staircase over here right by Nimbus where you spawn in Neomuna. Once again, the inputs are pulling out your eager edge sword. You're then going to heavy attack and then jump and press your dive ability. You can't do this off of a ledge or surface like normal shatter skating, so it's a lot less versatile, but anywhere you have a slight decline or a decent decline like this, it should work just fine. I've heard other people say you can't use W, A, S, and D while doing this. You can't jump or do other inputs, but it seems to work pretty fine when I do it and move around in air. Lastly, for this list, as you've probably seen already, is going to be rocket grappling. Now, doing this horizontally is extremely hard. It has tight timing and it can be super inconsistent, but doing it vertically is pretty damn easy. For this, all you have to do is shoot your rocket upwards. It shouldn't matter which rocket you have or the velocity of the rocket, and then immediately grapple. I like to press these at the exact same time, and it's pretty consistent to get. As I mentioned, obviously doing this horizontally is going to be way more useful in a lot of applications in the game. However, it's extremely hard to do. Because of this, a lot of people are using low velocity rockets like Sins of the Past, which you can pull from collections if you got it back in year 1 or I think year 2, or you could use something like Roar of the Bear. Either way, something around 30 to 50 velocity is going to be your best bet. I like to practice this on Hunter because I can just put a tangle down like that and then use the infinite grapple technique so that I can get both of my grapples back, and then I can practice much more consistently, and then wherever I need to, I can just rally for ammo. Oh, I got it. I actually just got it. Dude, that is insane. That is pretty much it for the grapple techs that we have in Destiny, at least the ones that I consider pretty useful to use. Like I said, skating techniques are extremely useful, whether that's the new hunter skating that you can do on your own or just grappling to somebody who is skating. Obviously, all the Sparrow techs are extremely useful as well. And I would say the infinite grapple technique, where you can use your own tangle, is extremely useful too. If there are new grapple techs that are discovered that aren't just one-offs of the ones that I showed in this video, where you're not just grappling to something random that's brand new, but it's actually useful, or ones that I completely missed, make sure to let me know in the comments below. And I do also stream a bunch over on Twitch, where I'll be streaming my team's Day 1 clear of the Root of Nightmares raid. So if you guys want to check that out, a link to that and my Discord server will both be in the description below. Anyways, that's all for this video, guys. As always, have a good one. Peace.